Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a Powerful Voices episode here on Banner and Backbone. This special episode, hopefully we're going to be doing a lot more of these here soon, is I'm Nick Perro, co-founder here at Banner and Backbone. This is a Powerful Voices episode where we're welcoming on, I'm joined by my friend Walter Ryan and Will Fullwood, where we're welcoming on Keira Havens from the Citizens Impeachment Coalition.
Citizens impeachment is just a movement. We are a grassroots movement.
Fantastic. And a representative for the Courage candidates. And Walter has had the opportunity to speak with you a couple times. I've had the opportunity to at least get introduced to you. Will hasn't had the opportunity to talk to you yet either. And I don't know if everyone in our audience knows you. So do you mind introducing yourself to everyone so that they can get a quick idea of who you are before we jump into our conversation today?
Absolutely. And thank you guys so much for being here. I am Keira Havens. I am a veteran. I was a scientist before I started doing this work. I come from a very different world in politics. But, I swore an oath way back when to the Constitution to support and defend that Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Take that oath pretty seriously. And this work that I'm doing now is an extension of that. There is a domestic enemy in the White House, and so we have to address it. Frustrating thing is, even though everybody in Congress swore that exact same oath to include like all of the staffers, nobody else seems to be taking it very seriously. And so what started out as a grassroots movement, nonpartisan grassroots movement, just to say, hey, Congress, your constituents would really like you to do something and take action, right? Impeach this guy. You have the power to do that. You're the only people who can. Well, we got told we're not going to do that. We're not going to take action. We're not going to uphold our oath. And so the second half of this work, the Courage candidates and Courage for Democracy, if this Congress isn't going to do its job, we'll just have to replace them. So we have 130 Courage candidates in 38 states, 100 plus districts running at the federal level for the House and the Senate, and they are fantastic. So they really bring a lot of hope into what can be a real grind of a project and trying to convince Congress to do something it doesn't want to do.
Getting Congress to do anything is tough, and getting them to do anything that they don't want to do is even tougher. So, Keira, really good to have you. Welcome. Thank you for your service, too. I'm an Army vet, so thank you for your service from one vet to another. What branch did you serve in?
I was in the Air Force.
Oh, you were one of them.
One of them, that's right, Chair Force, you could say it.
The school bus drivers of the sky.
Oh man, come on!
Oh,
right.
I trained how to be a school bus driver, so I'm not shading the school bus drivers. Like, I actually had a CDL at one point, and I could do that. So no shade to the school bus drivers. Also, you guys had better barracks and better food than we did. So just saying, I'm jealous of some of the things y'all had, which is probably why I give y'all shit for it. But it's
nice. Just go back to friendly banter like this in a world like this.
Yeah, where we could get Keira and Fred Poganai on, and we could ask Fred what his favorite color crayons are. He's a Marine vet.
I married a Marine. Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm going to hand you a shovel. Here's your shovel. Just dig yourself a hole, Nick. Yeah.
Did you have a crayon-shaped wedding cake?
I did not. No, my husband is he's an extremely fancy guy, and so we had like a Spanish tapas restaurant wedding. We had all our friends. 2 friends did show up in American flag suits, so that was our little patriotism.
Nice. Nice. I love that, and absolutely in jest for all of this for anyone who doesn't understand military banter back and forth. But Keira, it's so good to be on with you to discuss all of this. And can you tell us more about, or tell everyone more about, the citizens impeachment movement? And other than just getting impeachment out there, what are the goals for you guys, and what are you trying to help do so that maybe others can be involved, activate others and their civic mindset? What are you guys doing to help broaden the coalition?
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been a learning journey for me. Like I said, when we started out, we thought, well, we're gonna give Congress the citizen backbone that they need, right? They just need to see that their people are behind them and want impeachment to happen. And it's so delightful and so naive, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and start this out. So just to set the stage, in April of 2025, there was a poll done and it showed 80% plus of Democrats want impeachment, 40% to 50% of independents want impeachment, 20% of Republicans want impeachment. Because at that point in April of 2025, we already had Doge, we had Elon Musk running around. I think USAID was on the chopping block. We had tons of people being fired illegally. Appropriations were out the window. All sorts of illegal and unconstitutional actions taking place at that point in time. More than enough to actually take action and rein this administration in. And then a year later, they ran the same poll. Same people still want this guy impeached. And just yesterday, they ran a poll again. Still popular with everybody in every direction, especially Democrats. This is not an unpopular action to take, but it turns out that the opposition party, the Democrats, are deathly afraid of impeachment losing them the midterms. They have not connected the fact that this is the accountability midterms, that everybody in the entire nation does not like this guy, right? And they are, as of yet, unable for themselves to connect the dots between their oath of office, their responsibility, and the action that they need to take. I think I can say at this point that they feel that it is a strategic advantage not to take action, which is absolutely infuriating for those of us like living through the destruction, right? So in April 2025, we started citizens impeachment with the goal of getting somebody in Congress to impeach. We wrote up an article of impeachment. We sent it with the help of 600 people all across the United States. We got one person from every district. We all sent the email at the exact same time and said, impeach this guy. He's a tyrant. The article of impeachment was for tyranny. And one congressman, Sri Tanadar from Michigan 13, picked it up and he put that article that we drafted into his own larger impeachment resolution. And he brought that to the House floor. It took 3 weeks. It took 1 week for us to find the 600 people. It took 3 weeks for the representative to put it on the floor. And then because it was filed under Rule 9, meaning that any representative can raise this question of privilege at any time and force a vote within 2 legislative days, it only took 2 days to get to a vote. So less than a month from start to finish to get an article of impeachment to the floor of the House ready for a vote. And we thought, oh my God, it worked. On the day they were supposed to have the vote, Democratic leadership physically yelled at Representative Thanadar and bullied him into removing that article of impeachment from the floor for a vote. So we didn't actually get a vote on impeachment until June when Al Green did it for the very first Iran strike, right? During that time, the organization maintained its presence in inboxes, on the phone, detailing all of the unconstitutional actions, sending constituents to talk to their reps about impeachment, and pushing for additional action, for additional votes. The very first vote, we only had 79 people voting to take up the question of impeachment. The second vote in December, for when President Trump was threatening sitting representatives with violence for informing the military that they can refuse illegal orders, right? Which is just a real basic tenet of the military. That vote saw 140 people voted to take up the question of impeachment, and 47 voted with leadership because leadership was too afraid to say, no, we won't do it this time. Instead, they wanted everybody to vote present. But it was really telling to see that only 47 people in the Democrats caucus followed along with leadership. Everybody else was like, yeah, let's take up the question. Let's do it. And so since then, we have been pushing for another vote because each time you vote, you force people to go on the record and you force them to show what they actually think. They can't hide behind complacency, behind the assumption that they're on your side. And so that's what citizens impeachment does. We connect citizens directly to the representatives using specific people in the staff. We provide scripts and all of that. And we just say over and over again, bring these articles to a vote, force a vote on these articles, make them justify obstruction of justice for Epstein, right? Put these pressing questions of the day to a vote. It's the only way you get Congress to move, and they do move. We've seen them move over the course of the past year. So that's what we do at Citizens Impeachment in a nutshell. It has been a journey, I tell you what.
How long ago did we talk? I was wondering this because it seems like a long time.
About 2 weeks ago.
Because my life
does it feel like a year yet?
Oh my
Walter?
God, my life has completely changed in this time. And I do want to say thank you, these candidates you're sending me, because I've been doing this for a long time because the representatives won't talk to me. I'm like, fine, I'm going to talk to the primary candidates. We're going to get it on the debate stage. So I've been approaching the same problem, but a little bit different angle, building up this media thing. And my eyes have been opened to the fact how anti-democratic the Democrats are, where they control their primaries, they pressure good candidates to withdraw. This idea where they think it's their strategy to not have a primary, it's like, that's just wrong. It makes so much sense to have multiple candidates canvassing the district, activating the voting public. They refuse to talk about this stuff. And I've been appealing to more and more creators on Substack to interview more and more of these candidates so we can take back control of this narrative, because any action that we take, whether it's speaking, and it doesn't matter if the vote fails, it's having the vote. It's like, we don't have to be results oriented. We just talk, we pressure, we push. And if we can get these primary candidates to pressure the existing ones, that's good. And then we still vote them out.
Let's talk about the votes. I just got off the phone with Representative McGovern's staff. McGovern's in Massachusetts. He is one of the more establishment folks, right? He's been in there a long time. He knows his job. He knows his people. And the staffer, that we don't have the votes is one of the go-to statements, right? But right now, Congress is currently calling vote after vote after vote on the War Powers Resolution, right? And it's so they can have that soundbite in the fall of my opponents voted against ending the war in Iran 15 times or whatever it is it ends up being, right? There is purpose in forcing votes, even if they don't come to pass. Yeah. And in addition to that, there's also a distraction, it's the only thing I can call it, from leadership, Democratic leadership, saying we should look into the 25th Amendment. The 25th Amendment requires Donald Trump's cabinet to find a moral compass. And then it requires 2/3 of both the House and the Senate. That's more votes than impeachment. If you have the votes for the 25th, you have the votes for impeachment, and you get to control the start of the process. So the question is really not, do you have the votes? It's why don't you think it's worth proving this point? Why don't you think it's worth pursuing accountability, or even going on the record to say accountability is necessary?
I want to defer to Will. Will, I'm sure you have thoughts. So.
Oh, yeah, tons of them. And I just want to say I appreciate you, Keira, so much for the work that you've been doing, and everybody with Citizens Impeachment. It's incredible work. And I was taking a look at the votes, and I love on your website that you have who voted, at what time, and what they said, and that you're going and you're actually talking to these people, making adjustments where necessary. I love all of that. And I also love that you mentioned that just getting the vote, having the vote itself is enough. I'm constantly, I know this is our first time meeting. So for me, I focus on anti-racism. Okay. And one thing that I try to get people to understand about it is that people are always like, oh, I have to change the whole world. Like my actions have to change everything. Right. And that's not realistic. And it's very, not only is that not realistic, but it's also not true, right? Like your actions, no matter how small, are impactful if they align with the value of anti-racism. That's what I teach, right? Mm-hmm. And I think there's something very similar here with the work that you're doing. The vote doesn't necessarily have to be successful, but having that on the record and continuously pushing the issue and bringing up the questions and making sure that people understand that unconstitutional behaviors are occurring, and where people stand in a position of power to do something about them, it's critical. And so, I just want to start by saying that. Thank you for that work.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, a big piece of it is recognizing, is being willing to use your own power, right? If it's anti-racism stuff, being willing to change the things that are actually in your control. That's huge. Same thing for Congress. And these are like the most powerful people in the world. They have so much power, right? Just use it, you guys. Just use what you have.
Yeah.
And one thing that I like too is that, even though, we're all interested in why these people are not using their power, right? And we're all, we're curious about that. But I really like that in your movement, it's like, okay, well, we don't necessarily need to know why. What we need to do is get them out of power. And I really, really appreciate that because, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it turns out that this is not the conclusion most people come to. Usually, right, what happens is folk just like beg harder. Like maybe if I ask more or nicer, people will do it.
Yes, it's
I do not have the time or energy for that. I've been told more than once.
Yeah.
And folks are like, oh, wow, I didn't think about replacing them. Like, yeah, of course you replace them. They're not doing their job.
They think we've
if they don't do the job, why should they be there?
Yep, and they think we've forgotten that we gave them all the power in 2020. They think we've forgotten that. It's like this group of Democrats didn't stop this. We, the people, asked them to stop this once. We gave them the power to stop it. All these deaths are on their hands. All the things that have happened since then, they have to go. And we have the mechanism. But I've been seeing more and more, the media is complicit in covering up these primaries. And the first thing, I don't know if you've seen my interviews, but the first thing I always say to every candidate is just thank you for being of the new generation of candidates that will come and talk to regular people. Because our other representatives, they think they're insulated. They don't have to bear the consequences of all these horrible decisions, all these atrocities that they permit to continue on and on and on. So this new generation, and they've been so wonderful. My goodness, all these people that you've found, they're just so kind and authentic and brilliant. And I've noticed this too. Our media just never elevates brilliant people, accomplished people. They're always interviewing, whatever the latest thing that Marjorie Taylor Greene said about lasers, that's in the news all the time. And our Democratic representatives will go and talk to people like that. It's like, why are you platforming white supremacists? Why do you respect them more than me? Why won't you talk to me? They refuse to talk to me. They'll talk to any old white supremacist that's out there and then tell me I have to understand their point of view. What about my point of view? So just this new movement, it's just been revealing to me because I didn't realize how much conditioning I'd been subjected to where I'd come to accept what a candidate had to look like. Because all these brilliant candidates are out there. Every single district has a Mamdani who's just waiting, to come forward and actually work for the people. And so, I applaud you again. You've helped me see that, and it's been a ray of hope in, just this last tough 2 years. So thank you so much for what you're doing.
So, and building off what Walter saying there, I'll ask a question on that is, what is the one thing that you think might be the most helpful that we could do as creators, as podcasters, as contributors to our community? What can we do most to help you guys and ourselves? Because helping the citizens impeachment movement, helping the courage candidates does help us. I absolutely believe that, and I'm so excited to be able to get hopefully on with some of the candidates here soon and start getting into that pool. But what's the one thing that you think would be the most impactful for us to be able to do?
Yeah. So right now you guys are doing it. Like you are taking them seriously. And I have to say that is, myself and my co-founder started this basically out of spite, right? To replace people. We were like, who's gonna help us do this, right? And what we have found, we don't have money to give folks. We, can write a press release now and then and like kind of help out in that area. I have experience in communication, so sometimes I assist with messaging and stuff. But really the most important thing that we've been able to provide is kind of just like an emotional support framework, right? We believe in them. We're not going to get in their way. We think they should fight. And in fact, sometimes we encourage them to fight like more because we don't think that we're past playing nice. And we're taking them seriously. We're putting them up on the websites. We're making them look credible and legit. And we're saying like, these folks actually care. They actually know what they're doing. And they are willing to not only accept power, but they're willing to use it. That piece of it, the are you willing to fight question, that's that's the question that all of these media groups should be asking, instead of like, how much money did you raise, or whatever, right? So often that money even just comes from like their bank account. They give themselves a loan or something like that. So you guys are already like doing so much just by putting them on the platform and getting them out in front of people and connecting them with new folks. I'm so grateful for that aspect of it. I think the other piece of it, though, is that we need courageous voters. We need courageous constituents. There is so much disenfranchisement, and we see it just in the the way Congress treats constituents that come to them with a question or a concern, right? They're dismissive, and you can't get a response. You have no idea, even if like your phone call got recorded somewhere, right? The feedback mechanisms are all broken. And the more you can do to inspire people to have that faith, to show up at that primary and make a difference, the scarier we become as a movement. Because primaries, right, we only get 40,000 people in a district to vote. That's like 5% of the total district. Maybe there's 200,000 votes in the general, but there's 40,000 in the primary. And that means that if you get 100, 200, 500 people together, you can swing an election at that stage. So highlighting the primary dates, highlighting the numbers, and really like, a lot of people want to feel like their vote has an impact, right? And the primary is where it matters, man. That is where your vote has an outsized impact, because there's so few people engaging. So the more you can do to encourage people to take that step early and get involved and vote before the general, the better it will be for everybody.
Awesome.
Will, I'll defer to Will again. I would dominate the whole thing, but I have to be quiet.
No, it's okay. I mean, I feel like I have nothing to add. Like your comments are so holistic. I'm like, yeah, like I just agree with every single thing that you said, and so I can offer that.
Well, I mean, maybe here's a question that I'd love to hear from you. So I talk to people all day long, right? And I get a lot of pushback just in concepts of impeachment as to why we can't try it, or it would not work, or whatever, right? Folks have a lot of reasons why they shouldn't bother trying. But when it comes to the primaries, I have less feedback on that. I have always lived in like a mail-in voting state. They send a little packet and a ballot directly to me. I just fill it out and turn it in. Not a big deal. But, talking to folks from New Jersey, there's a real, there's a lot of, it's a very highly diverse community, and not everybody speaks English. And so there's a concern about, will I be able to understand? Will there be a translator for me? And I hadn't thought about that. So what is it in your communities that keep people from getting into the primaries?
I mean, I think the number one thing in my community is apathy. Just pure and simple. Like, there's a lot of people who have been disconnected from politics for a long time, and a lot of the chaos that's happening around them is actually somehow fueling that apathy, even though it should be the opposite. A lot of people are kind of like, things are going haywire exactly like I expected, you know what I mean? And so a lot of what I do is try to explain to people that that's not correct, and bringing people together to have those conversations. Something else that I do is, around the time when votes are about to take place, I try to get people together to go over all the candidates, all the potential people, and we have discussions about that. And in those discussions, it really kind of shows that most people are not talking about what candidates stand for, and like you said, whether they're willing to fight or not. I just don't think that conversation has been very relevant for our politics for people leading up to this moment. So I like to be, shifting that conversation. I think that's a big part of making sure that people get out and vote.
Yeah. I'm going to say the discussion about primaries is deliberately suppressed by our media. Our media controls how people think, because they know the primaries are the easiest way for us to completely transform our government. And I keep saying this, that our legacy media is owned by the same oligarchs that own our politicians, and they set up these false choices. They want to distract us. They want us to look at other things. The false choice, they control both sides. So whatever we choose, they win. They discourage us from looking at the places where we really have power. And this is why it's so critical for the growth of independent media right now, to push aside that conditioning, that oligarch control, and focus on these primaries. We don't wait for the midterms. We got to do something today, talking about these candidates, making them legitimate, getting people excited about these primaries, canvassing the districts. All those things can happen. The candidates I've talked to, Keira too, have taken clips and they share them, and so that helps elevate my platform. So every candidate I talk to helps build me. Then I can talk to another candidate, help build them. They can turn it back. We keep building. We all rise together. But we have to create a whole new media mechanism that elevates rational people over the most. I mean, I just saw a clip today from the guy that got elected down in Georgia to take Marjorie Taylor Greene's place. And it was just another absurd quote. He was saying that Georgia was named after George Washington instead of King. I mean, it was nonsensical. And I read that and it just made me angry because I'm like, they got their new distraction. They're perfectly happy with it. That does us no good at all to even listen to anything that this publication provides, because they just want to distract us from where our power is. Our power is in the primaries right now, listening to rational voices. Our power is going to change after that. We go to the general, but other things. But the more we bring people to this real independent media, because there's plenty of creators that claim to be independent who are oligarch plants who refuse to interview primary candidates here too. They infiltrate the system. When we gain our power, we're subject to algorithmic erosion. All these things happen. So we have to control the narrative again. The narrative is how fascism wins. It absolutely is. And you're doing great work, but together we're seeing the truth. We're going to overcome it. I'm sure we're going to overcome it.
And for my area, I'm in Arkansas, and I will say positive things for a moment, because I don't always have positive things to say about Arkansas. But the Arkansas Democratic Party, state party, has won 2 new seats in our state legislature since the last election. We won a House seat during the election, and we won a special seat or a special election seat not too long ago. Like, the Democratic Party locally in Arkansas is doing really well for a state that is not seen as a place where progressive ideas or common sense ideas would live, is pushing back on it. And for me, I think that's really the big thing, is just talking to people about what's common sense, like truly what's just common sense, taking the parties out of it. And it typically ends up with me going, because of this, this, and this, you should vote for this candidate who is blue or runs on the Democratic side because they fit the values that you say you claim to have. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't always work, obviously, because people are really ingrained in their ways. But it is worthwhile doing. And like, I have MAGA family members that I have spent 2-3 years talking to, and slowly moving towards non-MAGA, not towards anything else. I don't care if they vote. In fact, I'd be okay if they didn't vote. But I am actively encouraging others to vote. Like, I don't focus on trying to shift MAGA, and like my platform, I don't talk about MAGA specifically all the time. I want to activate non-voters. I want to activate the people who feel like their vote doesn't matter, because we know it does. And in places like Arkansas, it's really easy for us to point to recent wins and be like, your vote matters because we got this person into office and we're breaking the supermajority, or we're near breaking the supermajority now. And that, I think, really invigorates people. But also talking about like the things that have gone on since Trump has been in office, and how our governor is a piece of garbage, and just a horrible governor. Thanks, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. You're the worst. Bringing TPUSA, Turning Point USA into all of our high schools and schools. And then we had the University of Arkansas say no. They kicked TPUSA chapter off their campus. And they're not a progressive school. Like, their University of Arkansas is not a liberal school for the most part. But they have enough students that said, no, we don't want this. And so I think just encouraging and talking to our neighbors is really one of the biggest things we can do. And just, I know it's hard, and I'm not telling everyone to go talk to their neighbors. Like, I'm not going to tell Will to go talk to a racist white neighbor
Yeah,
I appreciate
who-
that, Nick.
yeah.
who wants to
You could tell
who
him
would
he's not
rather
gonna do
see
it.
Will dead than
No.
talk to him. Like, I'm not going to encourage that. I don't want to put people into harmful situations like that. There's no reason for Will to do something, say, that I could do or should be doing instead. And in a place where there's primarily white people only, like, it's much rarer to see diversity, is we have to be the ones out there saying the things, because that actually convinces our neighbors that it's meaningful to say those things. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Also, before you jump in, Keira, I want to say too, I host a web page called broadbanner.com. It's a community resource and network calendar page. It has a resources link. I am going to add the citizens impeachment link as a community resource for you, so that everyone can quickly find that page and go to it if they need to or want to, and find any of the resources that y'all have available. And if there are any other like web pages specifically for, say, the Courage candidates or others, I would be glad to add those types of resources so more people can see them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's just couragefordemocracy.com. That is where you can search by state, you can search by elected office, and find the person that's running for office in your district. I really liked what you had to say about the, basically respecting the humanity of the people around you. One of my favorite examples of how, like, there's no red or blue state is that, like, pre-K care, universal pre-K care, that came from Kansas, because Kansas decided it needed it for its kids, right? Like, everybody's got kids before they get into kindergarten, you got to do something with them, right? And so they developed a universal pre-K program. We are not so far apart. It's the team sports mentality that is really unfortunate. And that's part of why we are nonpartisan, not bipartisan. I truly do not care what sticker you put on what label you put on yourself. We have shared values, right? We believe that elected U.S. officials should uphold the Constitution. And then we are going to apply that standard to everyone. Everybody gets the same treatment. Now, I know we're in an era where, some special folks don't have the laws apply to them the same way, and that sucks, right? But we can hold ourselves to that standard, at least. And we can ensure that for our elected officials, that they know that their constituents expect them to adhere to that standard, and that they'll be replaced if they don't.
I like that. So before either Will or Walter jump in, when are the next primaries for Courage candidates that are coming up, and which candidates can we start promoting or discussing so that they get the attention that they need?
Absolutely. So there are a lot of them. I will just say that the primary season really kicks off on the 5th of May. And throughout all of May, we've got a lot of folks in the South. We've got Alabama and Georgia and Louisiana, although our candidate in Louisiana is her opponent dropped out. So she is on the general election ballot now. So that's great.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. West Virginia has a fantastic candidate, Britt. She is just doing incredible things, and she is showing up ready and willing to fight. Actually, I have the whole list here. Let me actually just grab that. I think I'm missing one more at the end. Nebraska, I think, is coming up. We just reached out to a Nebraska Senate candidate today. California is a huge one on June 6th, along with so many others. I think Iowa is in the mix there. Let me actually pull this up right now. So on Courage for Democracy, if you go to the candidate page, and do you guys want me to show this as a screenshot, or?
I'll actually share my screen with it.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, we'll just walk through it. So if you go to, let's do Georgia, since that's coming up next. Arkansas has already had its primary.
Yeah, we've already had ours, and Hallie Schaffner won her Senate primary. So I'm so excited to vote for her on that. Let me get this screen shared up though, so that we can walk
Rob
through
Rayers is running in your state too. He's an independent. He's going to be on the general ballot as well. So check him out. I'll send you his name for.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, but if we go to Georgia, right, what we see is we have two Georgia candidates there.
Hold on one sec. Let me get a star.
Yeah. So
Candidates.
yep. Candidate search. And that's Pancake. Pancake is like 14 pounds and he's blind. He's got 3 legs, but he'll also fight a Great Dane for you. So that's
nice.
us. That's so
that's beautiful.
Yeah. So what you see at the very top there, you see the primary date. So it's just right up there. You pick your state. It'll tell you exactly when the election is. So May 19th is for Georgia. We've got 2 folks running. We've got Case in Georgia 7, and then we've got Brianna Bree Woodson in Georgia 12. These 2 folks came to us real early on. They said, you know what, we are pro impeachment. Not only that, we are going to go ahead and submit articles of impeachment on day 1. And then we signed them up, right? The platform has gradually expanded over time to be more explicit about the fact that it's pro-democracy, right? Pro small d democracy, show up and fight, anti-corruption, anti-oligarch, and anti-authoritarian, which we sadly need to say these days, right? And the candidates as a group came together early in the year and decided to adopt the Abolish ICE platform as well. So each of these folks has their own page. If you click on Brianna, we can go to her site and tells you a little bit about her, gives you a link directly to her page. So PACs, we had to start a PAC in order to do this and to work with candidates. But PACs have a real bad rap. There is a certain family of PACs that just begs for money constantly in the desperate X voice, right? You get like, please take me back texts and send me $5, right? So we've got the option here for people to donate directly to the candidates, right? If you don't feel comfortable donating to a PAC, donate to the candidates directly. It will go a super long way. And then all their social media is there as well, so you can follow them. And that is their package. This is so you can get to know the people running in your district, know immediately at a glance who is pro-impeachment. And then, as media and news coverage comes in, we add those there. And then we got the countdown.
Love it.
It is coming up fast. We are almost at the 6-month mark out from primaries.
I also want to say thank you for including an accessibility tab for people so that they can easily customize the page and make it so that it's readable or visible for them. I'm a fully disabled veteran, and I know I have a huge disability community, and something that has always been a big deal for me is accessibility, and how do we make web pages or web applications or software accessible. I was a tech worker for a long time, and that was one of the things I wanted was accessibility in the tools. And so thank you for doing just that simple thing, but it does make such a difference. And
I'm so glad to hear that. I am just miserable with this part of technology. And so that is all our web designer and my co-founder who helped construct this entire site. We have one of our leadership members works in e-commerce, and he also has an accessibility background. And so he's always getting on.
Oh no, we lost her.
Oh, she's back.
Okay, good. It's sabotage again.
We've dropped out for a second.
That's when you're back. They can't hold us back.
They don't like us.
Yeah.
But that's the entirety of the site, and I would love to be able to at some point bring all this information out into other languages. We don't have that capacity yet, but even translating it into Spanish is just going to be huge going forward, right? What we saw in Texas was just an incredible groundswell of support and outreach from these organizations that have been on the ground working with the Hispanic communities. And I would love to be able to make that happen. Long list of things that we want to do, that we want to keep growing this out to, because everybody should have this information. And Walter, to your point, sometimes when folks write articles about the primary that's happening, they just skip people that are not, they just don't include everybody on the ballot for reasons that are kind of unfathomable, right? You're reporting a thing, that's a fact. You should write it down.
Yeah, it's a complete abdication of their responsibility. But we don't have a free press anymore. I mean, they bought up all the local newspapers by design. Everything's owned by 2 or 3 places. But I just love this idea about actual action, because we've always seen the Democrats be, we're anti-racist. And that's not enough. And I want to pivot to Will and to say some words on this. You have to be actively anti-racist. You have to be actively pro-democracy. You can't just say we're pro-democracy.
I mean, you just gonna sit there and think and be a good person? Is that how it works?
Sure.
That is how a lot of people think it works.
You've got Will literally over here dying.
Yeah.
These people.
There's so much to say came out of the cup. Yeah.
It's hilarious that came up because it's something I deal with all the time, and I try to always tell people that caring is an action. Caring is an action. If you're not actually taking action, you have to question whether you actually care. And so I mean, I don't really have much to add. Like, this is so amazing. Like, this is incredible. What a great resource. I hope that people who are educators think about utilizing this in their classrooms, actually bringing people, have them investigate these candidates, have them investigate what they stand for and what kind of future could be built if some of these candidates were to be elected. I know that's touchy, but we've got to start getting young people engaged in the political process. There is just a divide here, especially when it comes to Democrats, I believe, that there's this separation between the youth and people who have been voting for a long time. And we need to bridge that gap. And this is a great resource to be able to do that, to spark conversations about policy, spark conversations about what the future of our country could look like. So I appreciate all this work. This is incredible stuff. Really awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And I guess maybe I can do a little teaser. You're totally right about the fact that the kids are just like, they are outside of this system, right? We got a very like Steve Buscemi style, hey, fellow kids vibe when it comes to recruiting the youth vote, right? And the tools that are available are just like so bad for the candidates. They are unwieldy. They are owned by the Democratic Party. They cost a ton of money. All of the work that you do to make them functional actually goes back into the tool for the benefit of the Democrats, not necessarily for you. And so we have, because most of our candidates are like working class folks with like actual useful skills, they started to build tools to help with this. And one of the tools is an app, is a political content app where you as a constituent would get to choose the level of interaction that you have with the people running in your district, right? So, if you want somebody to come knock on your door, you can click that button. If you don't ever want anybody to knock on your door, you don't click the button, and then they know not to come to you. So we're trying to build out a new slate of tools that make the relationship between constituent and politician much more equal, rather than just let me fire hose you with my talking points and hope some of them land on the right people. But it really takes folks from outside the system to get into it, realize, wow, we are doing this like the worst way possible, and then start to work on building it better.
Well, they're doing it by design, I feel. I at this point, I feel it's malice. I don't think it's incompetence. I think they're deliberately trying to steal our democracy from us. And I'm talking about our establishment, corporate-owned Democrats. I'm so irritated after talking. And I do also want to say I talked to these wonderful people that they know how to use social media a lot better than I do. And so I just want to leave this out there for the people watching this. Interview these candidates, please. Just give them more visibility. And what you're going to find is you'll jump on some other platform. I don't even know what these platforms are. All of a sudden, I'll see my face 50 times, and it's because I've interviewed somebody who knows how to use these things. And so that helps me, too, as a creator. I mean, we are building these things. We are helping each other. We have to get rid of that competitive mindset. You mentioned that before. The cooperative mindset's the only thing that works. And even if it's team sports, that's cooperation with your teammates, right? It's like I've had to have these arguments with people. We can help each other. In Wisconsin, I don't know if these three are your courage candidates, but there's Ginger Murray, I think his name's Fred Ward, and Chris Armstrong. They're running a collective. They're I sent him your way. They're running, though, a cooperative primary. The three Democratic candidates. It's nice. Like, yes.
Okay.
And they're willing to be on talks, all three of them together. It's like, we just want to win. One of us is going to win. And then the next one goes and runs for school board or a state seat.
That is exactly how you should do it, right? We have a couple districts where two people are running, and the scarcity mindset is so ingrained that a lot of times what they'll get when they're talking with voters is, well, which one of you is going to drop out? You're going to split the vote, right? And the answer is the incumbent should drop out.
Yes.
That's the one that sucks, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the one we're all running. So so there's a whole framework that needs to just be flipped on its head, where we have to stop being afraid of claiming, like believing that things could be better and that we can work
Yes.
towards making them better.
This is so great. I appreciate
Well
you so
said.
much.
Very well said. You know, people are afraid that they might have the power to make things better, you know,
Yeah.
and I guess, you know, freedom ain't free and responsibility can be scary, right? And
how much
but-
worse can it be?
I mean, I'm
I'm gonna knock on
careful with your words there, Walter.
Yeah, careful over there. Let's not tempt fate or jinx
Yeah,
ourselves
let's not
here, 'cause
tempt
that
that.
seems like a bad choice. The universe has a habit of harambeing us, and we don't need that.
No, we're waking up. People are seeing it. People have had enough. And now's the time. Now's the time. And I'm just, you know what? I'm putting the good. We're going to win this. There's no question. We got good people out there, wonderful people working hard, people of integrity. They got the money, but we got integrity and we got the numbers, and we're going to win.
And since I said we were going to do it, I have my friend who is our IT guru in the background and our webpage manager. I want to share something for you. 2 things for everybody right now, real quick, is this webpage right here that's pulling up. You can see right in the middle for the broadband or resources page here, we've got the citizens impeachment and the courage for democracy, and those will hyperlink you right to their web pages and the resources. So you guys, everyone can go there. Again, this link will always be in our show notes. And so you can always come to this page. And because Walter and Courtney have been working on it in tandem together, is I'm going to share this tab for a sec, and we will make sure this is linked as well. Is a congressional candidate interview creator playbook for everybody. So you can follow it, so you can have straightforward ideas and discussion points, so you know, and you can be prepared as a creator to run an interview with a candidate and get a really good interview and give you a good baseline for a good interview. So I wanted to say thank you to Walter and Courtney for doing this.
Courtney was great. Yeah.
Courtney is fantastic. If you don't know her friend, for anyone who doesn't know her friend Courtney in the chat, she's one of our incredible volunteers, but also incredible. She's our Canadian support person, or she's one of my Canadian support people. And so she just does some incredible work for and with us. So thank you for putting these together and getting these out there for us so that everyone can have access to them. Because these are super important. And then so that everyone can quick link to the resources available. So just wanted to give Courtney a shout out.
Yeah, and I'm happy to walk people through their first interview. I've been saying a candidate, a creator, and you, and it's just like, so I can be there, because it's intimidating. It is intimidating.
Absolutely.
The first time I did it, but I've done a lot now, and I don't have any sleep. I don't sleep anymore, so I'm just talking to people, and it's not my baby either. I mean, I was talking with somebody today, and they're just like, well, it's like, no, honestly, I don't need to be. There's all these seats. What is it, 435 seats? I can't interview every candidate. I can't. I would love to. There's not enough of me. I need help. So the more people I interview with somebody, you invite a candidate, it doesn't matter how big your following is. Those clips sometimes just take off, whether you got 1,000 or 10,000 or 100 followers, just the interviews, the talking, we're going to take back the control of the narrative because we have surrendered that. And the Democratic establishment, they never fight back. No matter how racist, no matter how fascist the Republicans get, they never fight back. And we have to be the one. We have to do it. It's going to be us.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and check out Walter's interviews, y'all. His interviews are absolutely incredible. The candidates are incredible. And I'm really looking forward, Keira, to looking into more of these courage candidates and what they're standing for. So y'all do the same. Do your due diligence, all right? And get excited about these fresh young candidates who are trying to move us and our country into a better direction than what we're headed in right now. Yeah. We need these people to represent us, okay, if we want to transform this country. And I just urge people to get activated, bring other people in, tell them that you heard this talk with Keira and about citizens impeachment. Get people to start having the conversations with your own social circles, okay, and your own professional circles, and get it out there. And that's what we have to do. Be
And if I can
intentional.
just offer just a little bit of hope for this, like one, these candidates are real people. If you email them, they will respond. If you talk to them on social media, it's probably just them that is going to have a conversation with you. These are not massive teams. There's not like a ton of money coming in. These are people who are out there knocking 1,000 doors a week to get to know the people in their district and say, I exist, I'm here. So reach out to them. If you're not sure, ask them a question. They will answer. The second thing I'll say is that this particular cycle, there is a massive opportunity. If you've been following along with the state elections, the special elections, the folks are leaving the status quo in massive amounts, 20 to 30 points. And it's not just, blue voting for blue. It is folks that are sick of the current moment, whatever party they happen to be in, saying, well, I'm not voting for this, and picking the other guy. So one thing that we are seeing, and this is very early stage anecdotal right now, is that we actually do better in red districts with folks that have not faced a challenge for 5 years, 10 years, right? Folks that are real complacent, that stop holding their town halls, that are not responding to their constituents, and the constituents know it. We're seeing candidates win their primaries outright in districts like this. And of course, Walter, to your point, then you end up with the Democratic Party pulling some shenanigans and kind of freeze them out, right? But because they have us, because they have the support network, they can't freeze them out. They're not going to be able to make someone bow out of this race because they have backup from this group and beyond. So really take it to heart. I know that there is a lot going on out there, and I know electoral politics is just, we've heard it every year, is the most important election of your lifetime, right? But this particular year, you can actually make a difference. There is enough sentiment out there, and it is a big enough dumpster fire that it's not just you deciding that something different needs to happen.
Beautiful. And you're going to feel good talking to these candidates too, because they're so great. They're so authentic and so accomplished, and just, imagining that better world for our kids and for ourselves. I love what you're doing. This is so great.
Yeah, this is the work that you're doing, the work that the candidates you work with are doing, the work with the citizens impeachment movement overall that you're doing is incredible. Like, this is, so many people have been asking or have asked or continue to ask, what can I do? How can I help? What do I need to do to actually seriously get involved? Go to this site, just reach out, share these, share this interview with Keira. Well, I'm going to have, I'll have clips put out after. I'll make sure that the Substack clips get put out too. We'll put out clips all over the place for this. I'm going to put out all the clips. I'm going to post it on both my platforms. I know Walter will post it. I know Will will post it. And I know Keira will probably post it too. We will post this everywhere. It's going to be free as always for everyone to access, because knowledge is power, and access to information gives you the ability to have power. And so we want to make sure that that is fully available for all of you after this. And so, Keira, we're right at the top of the hour here, and I actually have another meeting that I'm going to be going to shortly. I want to give you the opportunity to continue to promote the citizens impeachment. I'm going to put up your QR for the Substack page while I'm at this, but shamelessly continue to promote yourself and the work that the organizations you're working with and that you're a part of are doing.
Absolutely. I'm just going to give a shout out to the 40 plus volunteers that make this happen. It's not, I'm just here on the video, right? But it's not just me. We have so many great people that decided that this was where they were going to put their time and energy, and we're super grateful to them. The reason that we are still here after a year is because we refuse to take no for an answer. And that is the single best thing that y'all can do, is say, I refuse to believe that this is how it has to be. I am going to find someone somewhere that I can work with to make this better. If it's politics and you choose to work with us, we walk you through every step of the way. We help you figure out what your district is, who your representative currently is, obviously who the candidate is in your district that's running. Politics can be intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. It turns out it's just people doing things and often not doing them very well. So if you're a halfway competent person, you'll be able to navigate it, and we'll help you do that. And I think the last thing that I'll just say is that this work is the beginning of something much, much, much bigger. I think all of us have come to this work and said, well, let's dig into it. Let's see where it goes. And as we dig, we realize we got to take the whole house down in studs and remake it from the studs up. So that's where we are right now. It's really exciting to be building it. And I'm thrilled to have such good folks as you on board with that rebuild. That's awesome.
Thanks, Keira. I really appreciate that. And so glad you got to be with us today and that we got to have this conversation. I'm going to give my co-hosts here a quick second to also shamelessly plug themselves before we go. Will, shamelessly plug
creator
yourself,
of the
brother.
Contraband Wagon here, doing anti-racism work, trying to bring the conversation to as many people around the country as possible and around the world. So, definitely want to talk to some of these candidates about their stance on anti-racism and how they can bring it to their communities, and so that we can fight for a better world, right? It's not simply about who we have in office, but again, like Keira said, what they do in office, how they're going to use their power. And part of that power needs to be utilized to dismantle this ideology that has become so intertwined with how we got to this fascistic state that we're in right now. So
Perfect.
Thanks, Will. Walter.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so happy to be here. And often when I speak, it's with Will's voice. We've been working on these things for a long time, so you'll hear his thoughts coming through. And I hope Will feels proud because of that. I hope I've taken these lessons to heart. And I feel like and Nick too, we keep working together. We keep getting better. We keep growing. We keep learning more. And just the more we can build a society where we have rational voices speaking, where we're not constantly being subjected to just absurd things that people that have accomplished nothing, people that try to steal the works of others and slap their name on it like they built it, even because they can't build anything themselves. All they know how to do is destroy. We're changing that. What we're up against is a force that wants to hide how much power we have. They want to hide it because they're scared of us. So we're going to win. I'm really tired after doing all these interviews, but I tell you what, I feel hopeful. And when I go to bed tired, I know I've done good that day, and I sleep well. I sleep well at night. And I know there's not a lot of people in our government who are sleeping well. So just keep doing the work. It'll make you feel better. It'll be good for your mental health. You're talking to good people. You're growing. You're learning the reality of our time. It's a big battle. We still have a big hill to climb. We're climbing the mountain from all these other sides, and we're comparing the view, and we're going to win. So thank you, guys. I love you guys. This has been a wonderful talk.
Thanks, Walter. Right back at you too, my friend. And then come join me at Sick of the Shit Publications. We're doing masculinity, chronic illness, fighting the patriarchy, fighting white supremacy, and all of the bullshit surrounding that, rape culture or American culture in many ways, unfortunately. We're fighting the masculinity because it sucks and we need something better. And you're going to be seeing a lot from me, as always, on Sick of This Shit, but also here on Banner and Backbone. And we're going to be bringing on more courage candidates from Keira and from others. And we're going to be talking to as many people as we can. I'm going to be getting Keira hopefully linked up with some of the other folks that I know. I know Walter spreads the love all the time too. I know Will spreads the love. So everybody come spread the love, come join us all. There's nearly 1,000 of you here on Substack with us right now, which is, by the way, fucking incredible. Thank you. My Substack, I know Substack's been a little weird right now and the chat hasn't been working that great and it's not been as lively as we normally have, but there's nearly 1,000 of you with us right now, which is so fantastic. So please, I'll do the one final podcasty plug, which is smash the heart if you can and hit the subscribe button at the top corner. That will subscribe you to the 4 of us plus Banner and Backbone, and follow Keira and the Citizens Impeachment Substack and the work that they're doing. Go visit their webpage. Hitting that webpage itself, just going to the webpage is an important act, because adding traffic to pages increases their SEO ratings and increases their visibility across the web. So flood some traffic to Citizens Impeachment for I forget the other, Courage for Democracy. Go flood both of those pages. Flood them with links, share them, put them on your other socials, link them on Facebook, on your Signal chats, in your text groups, wherever. Put them on LinkedIn. Do all the things and get the message out there, because the more people see these things, the better. And
1,000 restacks, please. We have 1,000 people, 1,000 restacks. But most importantly, just speak. just speak to your neighbors. Just tell them.
Yep.
Word of mouth is always the best.
And
Yeah.
and go find your fighter, you guys. We're in a quarter of all races now, which is crazy, right? Like that's insane. I just
Wow.
showed up out of nowhere and all these people showed up and said, yes, we have to move on impeachment. Let me join you guys. And so we're in a quarter of all the House races. There is somebody out there. And if you know of someone who should be on this list, send them to us. The Courage for Democracy has become a courage candidate. They can fill out the form and we'll get them loaded up and added in because we should have choices. We should be
Walter's like, I got like 3 or 4 here in Wisconsin that are getting on
I've
that
sent
list.
Emily already. Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And just think about that before we close here. Just think about that, y'all. A quarter of the House
It's our
could be
government.
courage candidates.
We get to pick
Quarter
who
of the House.
represents us. We get
Yeah.
to pick who represents us. It's in the Constitution. The mechanism.
Imagine
They're
if
just
at
hiding it.
minimum a quarter of the representatives actually represented the people. So much shit would get done.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
We're not going to be satisfied. We're not going to be satisfied with a quarter. We're not going to be satisfied
Nope.
until it's all of them at every level. That's our goal.
And let me
Yeah,
add
that's
just
the
one
goal.
more thing. All of these people are already talking to each other. We have them under an umbrella. We have them in conversation. They're aligned on policies. They are not going in to be wound up as freshmen by the machine. We're not going to let that happen because we are building that block right now. So whoever wins in the primary, and as I was saying, or those primaries can be swung by not so many votes. You guys can have an outsized impact there. Whoever gets in is going to have people having their back right from the start. Politics is a nasty game, but you can't, and doing it alone is so much harder than coming in with a block and saying things are different now because we're going to make them different.
A whole functional government just waiting to go. Imagine
that. A government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Such a good idea.
Let's leave on that
down.
wonderful note right there from our blast into history of ourselves and our American history is let's go back to a government of by and for the people, and the courage candidates are the way to go. So thank you, Keira. Thank you, Walter. Thank you, Will. Thank you to the nearly 1,000 people who are with us. Y'all are amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And we'll see y'all again soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.